when we're into arts, all the various forms that we find ourselves in, and we still find ourselves in the deification of somebody else's culture or some other people. Like, for instance, martial arts. If you go in a dictionary, you'll find that martial means a Roman god of war. Who would want to identify with a Roman god of war? And especially when you look at the art defense system that all of you will have an equal chance to see in just a few minutes. Long before martial, a Roman god of war, and long before the Asian art defense system, the origin of all of that came right here in Kemet. It was called the Montu. The Montu art form was an African defense system, long before a Roman god of war called martial art. Here you see another art form, even using the sticks and the art form. The one we look at is some kind of a karate chop. And then you see a flip that's taking place right here. So here you see, right, what they call judo. Here you see a flip right here, and also another form of the art with the brothers are trying to defeat the other and bring him down. So here you see an African defense system, but I want to show you that this is an African origin that goes as far back as the Nubas. This is your friend, you know him. One young brother came and actually got right into position one year as soon as he saw this, because he's at an independent school right there in San Antonio, an independent school about teaching our children. And we have two brothers who are from that school, and one brother who's at that school right now, and that's Brother Oba. And he's right here, an independent school. Now, keep in mind that that came from the Nubas, brothers and sisters. It was an African defense system, meaning that in this African defense system, you see the same exact thing right here. Now look at this here form right here, and look at these brothers from Nuba. Look how far back this goes. This is the same type of African defense system that is going on right now with the Nubas that you see with these two brothers right here, to show it's an African art form all the way from the Nubas. The Nubas who live in the highlands of the Sudan. Now, also, just as you see these two brothers right here, mixing it up, one trying to flip the other down, or look at the Nuba brother that you see right here. Okay? So that's why we come back in all forms to show our story, so we can document it, not just to have it from a European perspective, but have it from our African perspective, our African Kemetic perspective. So we see the two African defense system right here. Now keep in mind, when these brothers, why are they in this form of art right here with the Nubas anyway? They are fighting for something. They're fighting for the woman. And when one wins, he is able to get the sister, and when he wins, she actually comes and puts her leg over his shoulder. Something like this here. Now imagine if you had to have you a battle. I think that's why you see the brothers were in serious battle, lockdown battle, because this is what they were fighting for. Okay? Now, I think we'd be in serious lockdown battle if we were still fighting for this today. Okay, sometimes we get in a lockdown battle. Okay? But now you can see that this is a natural form where once the brother wins, he has the queen of the village, and she actually puts her leg over his shoulder, say, I chose you because you're the baddest brother in the village. All right? So here you see it carved. Here you see it carved in stone right here, brothers and sisters. So what is it called? Montu. Montu art form. So we erased the martial art because we're not deifying Rome, and we're not deifying Roman deities, and nor we're not deifying Asia either. So let's get it right. You got an eyewitness account. Take your pictures and go back and show to others who continue to deify others instead of themselves. Hotel. We go to another area.
Same scene you were talking about from the wall before, right?
Huh?
As we see the Tanihisi Kushite soldiers from the land of the bow of Taseti, and we see them here because it is here that they excavated Mentuhotep's temple and got these soldiers. But notice that they're holding the sticks for battle right here. So when we go back to Musi land, and we can see the same culture among the Musi, the Donga sticks that they use for fights. to this very day that are used, but you see them in the Cairo Museum among the Ta-Nehisi that was carried down the Nile. The Ta-Nehisi Kushite Ethiopians are also, we see from the art, and these blades or rings around their hand that they use for fights. But let's go and see, when I was in the Bume village of Ethiopia, here January 6th, we see our brother is wearing the band around his hand they use for fights for the Bume. But his culture, you see him here, it goes all the way back to the Kushite nation. And on the temples of Kemet, you can see the African defense system and see that that culture started with African people and karate and all these things today, as you see the flips and so forth and the hands, and also you can see the arrow where we see the stick fighting that he's also using. When I was in Bahia, here in Salvador, Brazil, I see our brothers here. And here in their art form, and by the way, that's a slave dungeon right there. Yeah, they got slave dungeons in Brazil, just like in Cape Coast and Elmina, West Africa. They kidnapped us, brought us over here to the west. But I noticed that capoeira, and you see the Styx figure that was brought across the Atlantic Ocean. But their art form, called capoeira, as their art form that you see right here, goes back thousands of years. As you see, they're still practicing right here in Bahia in Salvador, capoeira. And look closely. And here I'm right there in the middle. They're showing me the art form right there. On the temple, but you see it right there on the temples of Egypt over 3,000 years ago. These are books in stone that our ancestors left us. And you see them with the stick figures for the fighting right here. Also, we see go among the Nuba, who their wrestling styles and compare their wrestling styles are identical to those that are right there in Kemet. So we got it. We can see it on the temples of Kemet, and we can see the wrestling styles are identical to what you see in ancient Kemet. As when we went into the village, and the Bume village in southern Ethiopia, the Kara as well, and we can see our brother right here, Brother Kisa, thank you. Kisa, who came with us. He's one of the brothers I selected to come into this region of Ethiopia, and you see him with our brother right here with the ring around his hand, defense system, and Brother Kisa went to fight with him. I said, brother, you can't mess with that, brother. He got a blade on his hand. He went through a quick move, and blood started running all down his arm. Okay, so it was a quick move, but the brother was just defending himself because Kisa was trying to do something fast on him, but the brother was ready for him. But you can see where his culture is still passed down from the ancient Kushites.